Good morning, YouTube. Taking a year off, usually a bad thing, right?
I mean, it could be like a New Year's resolution, right? Where it's a good thing.
Right, but I mean, like, this relationship's going great. Let's take a year off and come back, something like that.
Right.
I guess, the gap year for college, some people do.
Sure.
Not a good
No.
thing for a company to say, I think we're just going to take a year off. And I didn't know this until Daddy Doug posted a short talking about it, that Jaguar is basically taking a year off.
Is he just saying this, or is this actual
No.
fact? Like, is he brewing a rumor?
It is the real deal. So I found two articles about this back in August, how they were discontinuing most of their models, the convertibles. You look at what's on their website right now.
Right.
You have the F-Pace, the E-Pace, the I-Pace, and then the F-Type Coupe, the F-Type Convertible, and then the XF.
Right.
And they were continuing making the XF. I think that was the only one. But now it seems like they're quitting that altogether because of market day supply. We covered this, the fastest and slowing cars of 2024. The Jag XF, they have a 315-day market supply. So they have a year's worth.
Right.
701 currently for sale, and they've only sold 100 in the last 45 days. This isn't to continue producing one car and then just dropping all the others and refreshing. That didn't happen. So now they're just going to completely re-rack everything for 2026. And their first new car is going to be something crazy. It's like some electric Grand Tour. They're saying it's the most powerful car ever sold.
Really? Well, I think it could be cool and interesting because no car company really has done something like this where they announce, hey, we're going to take a year off. And so I'm guessing it's going to be a huge rebranding. I'm hoping because they need it. They're not moving cars.
Well, Jaguar started as a brand from their racing heritage. They took big racing wins and then built some beautiful cars, really got a footing in the 1950s. The 60s, the E-Type Jag was an amazing thing. The company's always been sort of on the edge of profitability and unprofitability and bought up by things. But the era that I grew up in, that we grew up in, was the Ford era, where Jaguar bought Ford and Land Rover. And did their own sort of total revamp of the cars because they were kind of old grandfather clocks, very long in the tooth. They looked very vintage, even the cars in the 90s, early 2000s. They just looked old. And personally, I like that. So I've owned an XJR, I've owned many XJ8s, some XKs. I guess that was the next era with the XKs. But Jake loves the big grandfather clock XJSs, which your Asian Bob just bought one of those. I was very sad.
You were a little jealous of because you couldn't go on that adventure, the Facebook Marketplace adventure that they invited you on.
Well, my friend Rob sent the car to me and Bob at the same time. And since I have children, I can't just drop everything and go. So Bob went and he got it instead. And it's a very, very nice car. It's a great deal. It's got some rare aero stuff aftermarket, sort of like AMG before pre-merger, sort of like performance add-ons to it.
It's really
V12.
cool.
Yeah, that'll be for sale.
It's really cool. You were very upset all day long.
But the Ford era is what we know. And they already did one very big refresh in the Ford era. And it's weird, some Jaguar cars made their way over to Ford. So like the Ford Thunderbird is a Jaguar-based engine. You had a Lincoln LS.
A Lincoln.
That you drove cross-country, right? With the Jaguar based in one of the most unreliable, terrible Lincolns ever.
I made it, and I found out the governor chip was at, I think, 120, 125, where it doesn't let you go faster than that, which probably was the worst idea ever.
Silky smooth engine when it works, right?
But yeah, it was perfect. It made it. It was great.
She had the only reliable one of those ever. You never see a Lincoln LS on the road anymore. But
like maybe once every 3 months I'll see one. It's an event, though.
Ford, they attempted a revamp, but, it was sort of half-hearted. Then they sold to Tata Motors of India.
Okay.
And Tata bought it up, 2012 or something like that. Increased sales year over year by 40%.
That's huge.
And there was a big change. And the Jags, they were different from the old-looking ones. They just looked really pretty.
Right.
The interiors, very upscale. The sedans looked beautiful. They came out with some SUVs. They brought back sort of the E-Type, calling it the F-Type, but it's basically E-Type reborn, the little sports car, making it a little more sporty focused, and people love it as a great value. But the reliability, not so great.
No.
They had a supercharged V6 for most of their cars, and that has proved to be a big problem in Jaguar and Land Rover. So Tata brought Land Rover as well.
Right.
and that's proved to be a pretty unreliable engine. And then recently, they've just sort of, I feel like they've given up.
What do you think is the big thing that happened where their now sales are kind of lagging, cars are ending up on the lots and not getting sold?
Well, so Jaguar made a commitment to go all electric by a certain day, along with most other automakers.
Right. Well, they had to.
They supposedly had to.
The
government mandates.
Yeah.
The thing is, only Jaguar seems to be the one that took it seriously.
Right.
Everybody else is like, whatever happens,
We'll
happens,
see.
after
Right.
saying it for good PR and everything. Jaguar is like, oh, we were supposed to, so we're going to do it.
Right.
And
they were the good kid in class that sat in the front.
So they didn't invest in that next generation. That 2012 is now 12 years old.
Right.
Oh, hi, Neelix. And they didn't invest in anything new with that. And the engines got smaller. Now they just have little 2-liter 4-cylinder. They're just not special. There's nothing special about Jaguar anymore. And they think revamping as a low-volume electric brand is the way to go.
Right.
So luckily, Tata Motors, they bought Land Rover, they bought Jaguar. Land Rover, runaway big hit success. They've done really well for themselves. So they make up for Jaguar being a problem. I mean, you look at most dealerships, they are a Jaguar Land Rover dealership. I do the American pronunciation sometimes.
Right.
So the dealerships will be okay, I guess. They weren't selling very many of the cars that they had. But a low-volume electric car sounds like a really bad idea.
Well,
Lucid.
so let's say they brought you into the team and you're the head designer for Jaguar. What would you do to kind of like get them back out on the cool path to where everyone's heads are turning when that car goes by?
Well, I think it's design, and I think it needs to be different than chasing Tesla and Lucid and making these swoopy, loopy things. I don't necessarily think retro, but just something so striking, maybe polarizing. I think Hyundai's done a great job of these really polarizing, odd designs, where Jaguar could do that because they were sort of a styling icon at the time. But I think it's a pretty hopeless lost cause. I think they're going to come out with some, big whiz-bang electric cars to sort of play on the homage of the XJ220, which was for like 2 months the fastest car in the world before the McLaren F1.
Right.
And just to have that sort of trickle down into cheaper cars.
Well, now it kind of sounds like they want to be the fastest car again, but in the electric world, which almost is negligible. Doesn't matter because every electric car can go like 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, which is so scary.
There's nothing special about it. The engineering is all sort of the same, so it's just not exciting. And I feel like also enthusiasm for Jaguar has died down. I had a 66 E-Type green sort of a driver, but really a restoration project. Somebody had replaced the floors themselves and wasn't very good. Leaked oil, interior like vinyl replacement, the paint falling off. But it ran, drove, and I bought it for $69,696. It was a very nice price.
Yes.
Sold it for I think a little bit more than that. But the E-Type market in the few years since has gotten really rough. There was one that I was watching on Bring a Trailer. There it is.
Ooh.
So this is somebody's owned this Jag for 20 years. Series 1 4.2. Very, very nice car. But it didn't meet reserve a few days ago. And then also he tried to sell it in November of 2023, so about a year ago. And it didn't meet reserve. So it went from $84,500 in 2023. And he didn't sell it because it's supposed to be a 6-figure car, early E-Type. Now $72,500. So $12,000 less in a year.
Do you think the value is going to go back up with these?
That's the thing. I think that the enthusiasm for these is waning as far as us thinking of a brand. A legacy is really important, but also they got to know they exist. I mean, I guess there's, Duesenbergs and things that long dead brands, Tuckers and stuff that still have enthusiasm to this day, but that's sort of dying out with the generation that was around when those cars existed. So if Jaguar builds cars that nobody cares about, they're not going to care about the heritage much either.
Right. They need to get back in the game with making something really exciting in 2026. So I guess we'll see what happens. Out of the entire lineup, I think they first started coming out in like the 30s or something. The entire lineup, if you could pick one Jaguar to put in your non-hoopty lineup, because I'm going to ask you to get a nice one. What would it be? What do you think is the pinnacle of
the
Jaguar?
XJ220 is pretty spectacular. Amazing.
What is it about that car?
They took a V6 and made a supercar out of it that was the fastest car in the world.
Right.
And the shape of it, the design of it, it was just astounding.
Right.
But it got quickly overshadowed.
Sure.
And I think that's a pretty undervalued car for what it is, because it's not even $1 million for it. McLaren F1 is a $15 million car.
Do you know if they made a lot of them?
No, not many.
So yeah, there you go. Let's look for one of those.
Let's see. 282 made.
What?
Yeah, really,
Wow.
really low production. Yeah, turbo V6.
Wow.
Just a beautiful machine. I love the XK120s as well. It's sort of the early Jaguar where they got their name on the map. And there was a sad story lately of someone on a rally. You see this?
Oh,
A distracted driver on their phone just swerved into the lane and hit the XK120.
Is it total?
And the guy's bleeding from his mouth and just yelling at this person who admitted they got a call and picked up their phone, swerved in the lane, and slammed this beautiful rally car.
I mean, is that something that you can fix? I feel
No,
like that's
no,
totaled.
that's as totaled as the Jaguar brand is today, pretty much. Yeah, very sad. Hate to end on a sour note like that, but thank you so much for watching.